London.
8:10, it's In Spirit, your Sunday breakfast show here on BBC Radio London. I'm Edward Adu. I'm in the hot seat for Jamoke. Last month, the government announced a new £50 million fund to prevent thousands of tons of food that might otherwise go to waste to be delivered to those who need it most, with an estimated 330,000 tons of edible food either wasted or repurposed as animal feed before leaving farm gates every year. Charities like City Harvest could put this waste to better use with their redistribution process. Let's find out more and speak to the CEO, Sarah Calcutt, who joins us on the line. Sarah, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Ed. Thank you. It's lovely to be asked.
Oh, thank you. Listen, great to have you on the show this morning. This is a great initiative, but will this make any difference? Will it help?
Oh, absolutely, it will help. There's a real challenge around the cost of food at the moment. We've got a huge problem that it's, of course, too expensive for quite a lot of people. Certainly the 20% of the population we look after are really struggling, particularly around a healthy diet. And then, of course, for the farmers, there's a real challenge around profit margin, or any profit at all, in fact, for many of them, because they've got such incredible rising costs. You know, they're trying to do the best with wages. They've got lots of challenges around what they need to produce their crop. And so assistance in collecting the inevitable surplus. I come from the apple industry originally, and you grow an orchard of apples, and some of them are big and some of them are small, but not all of them are going to be wanted by your retailer. And if there's no market for that ugly, small, big, lumpy, whatever, it's brilliant because it's still healthy fruit or veg and it can still go to somebody. So this 15 million is a really valuable pot because it will help connect people that need a good diet with those that have dedicated their lives to producing healthy food. Why
is it taking so long for this to happen?
Well, you think we've got a really big spending crisis at the moment. The government is under a massive amount of pressure, as any new elected government experiences. Everyone expects them to have a magic wand and solve all the problems, including the money ones, instantly. So it has taken a while to happen. Obviously, it was a pledge by the previous Prime Minister. And the Labour government, quite rightly, has had a complete spending review. The Treasury has looked at absolutely everything that was committed. And actually, they have believed this is a valuable fund. And so it has survived the review, it survived the cuts, because there is strong belief that it's really worth investing in connecting people with good British food.
Which will be surprising to many because, I mean, clearly a lot of things have been cut, but this has gone through.
Well, being hungry causes many other social issues. If you think that the burden on the health service for people who are obese. Now, obesity is much more about poor diet and lack of access to good food than anything else. Because a cheap calorie, the cheapest calories are unfortunately ultra processed. They're the beige foods, and so they're not helping you health-wise. So there's a big burden on the health service. You also have a huge challenge around if you're hungry, if you're a child and you're hungry and you go to school, you can't focus. It makes you angry. You're going to go into school. You've got to cope with the pressure of doing your GCSEs. So it will help education. It will help people get back into work because if you're fit and healthy, you can work and your brain works well, all the good stuff. If you're less angry, you're less likely to offend. We'll see a drop in domestic violence. We'll see a drop in shoplifting. One of the most frequent elements of shoplifting is mothers stealing baby food and nappies because they can't afford to feed their children. We've got such a huge challenge, and to be able to facilitate a really healthy diet for those that need it most, it's a really good thing to be doing, isn't it?
Do you think this is justified, the amount that is being used for this fund?
This is a pilot. At least I sincerely hope it's going to be a pilot. We've got to test this. There's no good chucking a load of money at a problem and going, right, solve it, because you don't know what actually is going to work best in solving it. And at the same time, you've got a lot of really clever people. You've got a lot of very experienced people who are going to be working on a food strategy and a food security strategy. So you've got the work that was started by Henry Dimbleby, which didn't get to go very far. Now, Henry's work is being included in the new food strategy. I know that one of my peers is involved in that as well. So we're looking at the needs of the hungriest 20%. There's some fantastic academics like Professor Tim Lang. They're working on this. So they're looking at how UK might have better food stocks, how we might have better food security, how we might facilitate a better
Sarah,
diet.
though? Sorry to interrupt you, because when you say food strategy, it sounds great, but to some people, they'll just think, gosh, it's just another, something that's been not drafted, or another commission, which is just going to be literally lying on paper and nothing will actually get done.
We don't have any choice but to do something about this. The last time the UK did something of this scale, it was by an academic called Beveridge, who worked with the government, and he produced an act which became a constitutional change. And it affected housing, education, justice, health, and farming, food and farming. And the Beveridge Act went across multiple departments. So this piece of work currently around food strategy is now going across multiple departments, because it'll cover education and health as well. Because the education system is suffering from hungry children not being able to learn and malnourished people not being able to learn. And the health service obviously is massively suffering from people who are malnourished. And so a broad piece of work across departments, not working in isolation, is the best way forward. We have no choice but to change the national diet. We also have no choice but to change the way in people can access food as well.